All right, Jarrell here from Hybrid Radio, coming to you from Terminal 5 in New York City. And I'm here with Adam from New York City's very own hardcore punk band H2O. So how are you feeling today, Adam?
Hello, everybody. I'm good, man. Thank you.
You're a bass player of the band?
I am. I'm the bass player of the band and have been since 1996.
96, okay.
And by the way, I'm the new guy. I'm the new dude in the band. So.
Oh, you are? Okay. We'll get to that in a second because you look very familiar, but...
Well, I mean, the new guy would join... The last guy to join this band joined in 1996.
19 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so tonight you guys are doing a mini tour with the Interrupters and Rancid. So how awesome have the shows been so far?
Very awesome. Yeah, I mean, Rancid is personally one of my favorite bands, and I know everyone else in H2O feels the same. Man, they hit it out the park every time, so it's great to play with them and get to see them every night, which is so rewarding. And I didn't know anything about the Interrupters before this tour.
Right.
And I did know one of their songs from a T-Mobile commercial.
Yes.
But I didn't know it was them till I played it the other night. And I really like them. They're really fun. Like, they got a really good energy. It's really positive, really upbeat, really infectious. So I love being on this other one. I wish it was more than 3 shows. Yeah,
I was hoping to get in touch with them too for an interview, but I saw them open for the Boss Tones 2 months ago, and the same exact thing happened. They played that song. I'm like, I know this song. Yeah. It's in a commercial, but that's kind of weird to hear this band I never heard of in a commercial.
Yeah, because they don't come up. They're definitely not like a corporate rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're obviously like real people playing real music. I'm happy for them. I'm sure they got their T-Mobile bill slashed by doing that commercial.
Yeah, let me tell you guys out there again, you definitely got to pick up their debut album. They're a phenomenal ska punk band with that old school English sound. But getting back to you guys, so you said Rancid you like, and I got to say Rancid is one of my favorite bands. And even though you guys have been like good friends with them for like over 20 years or close to 20 years, do you still get a little like starstruck when you're around them in the same room with like Tim, Matt, and Lars?
It is one of those things where you kind of like pinch yourself a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I think I'm always kind of, there's always like, because I didn't meet Rancid till a little bit later.
Okay.
So when I met those guys, like, Out Come the Wolves had already come out. Like, I'd met Tim and Lars, like a handshake, hello, nice to meet you, but never really spoke to them. And then once Out Come the Wolves came out, I couldn't help but like be just like the fanboy took over. You know? And like when I actually started hanging out with them, the whole time I'm thinking, you made Out Come the Wolves and you're awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely still a little bit of that for sure. But it's also a respect thing. Yes!
Oh, come in. Toby's here.
Toby Morse is here.
Toby is here.
Toby Morse is here. Ladies and gentlemen, Toby Morse is here.
Look at the backstage room, FTTW.
Oh.
OLC, FTT.
Hello, Jarrell from Hybrid Radio.
Interview.
How you doing?
Interviewing and string changing.
DMA, look at this backstage room. How cool is that, man? Jake from Rocksoft does it right. We really appreciate him. He takes care of us. Great New York promoter.
So as I was saying, oh, sorry.
It's a soul thing. It's a soul thing.
So I was saying that you get a little.
You like Black Train Jack? This is Brian from Black Train Jack, legendary New York hardcore band.
Oh, say what's up, man. You want to talk on the mic a little bit? Yeah. Give it a little introduction of who you are. Yeah.
I'm Brian. I used to be in Black Train Jack, and if it ever happens again, I will be again. But it's been a long time.
So there's a little side interview here we'll do. I'm gonna not do from the script at all. All right, 2 bass players. So
kind of a special podcast right
now. So are you like influential to H2O? You guys been around longer than them?
We were around.
You got a little closer.
We were around a little bit. And they played some of their early shows with us at CB's and everything, and always been great friends. Known Toby for 25 years and Adam for about the same amount of time. It's like a family.
Yeah.
You know.
I saw Black Train Jack in London. Little did I know when I saw him in London as a wee kiddie that one day Brian and I would be fast pals.
And sharing beds together.
And Brian has a fairly unique insight into H2O as he has played bass for us on many tours when I switched to guitar. So technically you have 2 H2O bass players here.
Nice. 2 for the price of 1.
It's one of the highlights of my life, is being able to play with these guys sometimes. No joke.
And it's a highlight of ours to have you.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna start just making out.
This song's called One Night, One Chance. Let's go.
I got to make sure I get the camera ready for that. Then let me ask you this question, Adam. So we talked about that you guys have been around for 20 years. So you're celebrating your 20-year anniversary, basically. What are some of the changes you've seen in the hardcore scene from then to now?
Some of the trends.
Changes, like
Changes.
back in
I mean,
'95
it's
to
weird,
now.
right? Like, it would be a shame if it didn't change. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if something stayed the same for 20 years, it'd be kind of crappy. I think the biggest one I noticed is metal came in kind of a lot, and then people talk about like screamo or emo.
Right.
I don't know what that is. but-
Screamo?
Yeah, I mean, I like loosely, but I'm like, it just sounds like it's all. People make up too many categories, you know.
Yeah, subgenres,
Now
yeah.
you don't have hardcore. Now you have posiecore, youth crew hardcore. You have beatdown hard. You know what I mean? You have there's all these different styles old school hardcore.
Uh-huh.
Which to me personally is I'm 42 years old, so when I think of hardcore, I think of old school hardcore. That's
Right.
just where my head's at. I think like Bad Brains, Minor Threat, later on Cro-Mags,
Yeah.
Judge, Gorilla Biscuits.
Basically bands that have been labeled as punk rock nowadays.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but I mean, the problem with labels and stuff is that they end up becoming limiting. Like, if I call something hardcore and the majority of kids today say it's not hardcore, it's punk rock, fuck it, it can be punk rock. Still the same music.
Yeah.
Still the same record. Still
Yeah.
the same lyrics. Ain't worth fighting over names, you know?
Yeah. So, Toby, I asked Adam the question. I want to know what you think. What have you seen changes in the hardcore scene from '95 to now?
I mean, it's definitely it got big, and then it kind of got small, and then it got big again, and then there's like, a resurgence of young bands who actually have like an old kind of old school kind of feeling vibe to them. They have like a energy to them that's not. It's new, but it's also got like a throwback to some of the roots of the hardcore scene. And I think a lot of kids are really. They do their homework as far as like the inspirations, where they're getting inspirations from. There was a time where I think a lot of people weren't really doing that, and I think it was, especially with the internet and how easy it is to like Google different types of music and albums from the past. I feel like a lot of the hardcore bands now, they have a really good spirit about them, and I think that we weren't really part of any particular scene because most of us live in California, and our drummer, our friend, lives in Jersey, never leaves the house, but. For like people to go to shows, like we travel around the world, and all the scenes are great. When we go play places, the shows are great and the scenes are great. It depends on what part of Europe you're in or part of the country. I mean, there's so many kids putting. We just played a show at a jiu-jitsu studio in New Orleans, and we played there a year before at a thrift shop. Kids are putting on DIY shows all around the country, and yeah, hardcore and punk rock were always going to be there. It might have a different. Sound to it or look to it, but it's coming from the heart. It's coming from the same place lyrically, and the mentality of it. But it's never going to be the hardcore we grew up on. It is 2015, and I feel like the one thing that has stayed the same is the passion and the excitement that kids have when a band comes to town, and local bands and the local scenes and putting on shows and all that stuff. So I feel like that spirit, that DIY spirit's never left. Obviously, some bands got bigger and some bands didn't, but the ones that maintained and still keep doing it, man, like Sick of It All, Agnostic Front, Madball, Cro-Mags, and Miss City bands that still we tour them all the time. Ignite, Hatebreed. So many bands we crossed paths with all overseas, and it's because of those bands that they've definitely paved the way for us and a lot of other bands. And I feel like there's so many young kids coming to our shows now. Either they're coming because they've never seen us before and they just got into us, or their brothers brought them, or their mothers brought them.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
it's like it's crazy. So I'm probably going on a rant right now, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
Hardcore's alive worldwide. It just depends where you go. It depends where you go, where you play.
It's cool to listen to you talk this much because I have to basically kiss your butts right now because the first time I saw you guys was in November '96 opening for Social Distortion in the Masquerade in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh wow, Masquerade was awesome.
I literally remember that show.
Yeah, Masquerade.
Yeah, and even though there weren't a lot of people during your set, your performance compelled not only me to buy your self-titled album on cassette at the show, but also to scour the scene and look for other bands like you mentioned, like Warzone and Youth of
Yeah.
Today and Sick of It All. Like you guys basically opened me up into like listening to hardcore from that
That's
show
awesome.
performance alone.
And you know what it was for me? I mean, I don't know if it was for you, but when you look at people's thank you lists or the people they shout out on stage or in fanzines, you say, oh my God, what's this band? If this band likes them, I'm going to check them out. Like,
Yeah, I remember those days,
all
yeah.
that stuff is- you
like
know,
sitting in your room listening to CDs when you open up to the end, like you said, the
Yeah.
thank yous. Like, oh, they like this band, I
can't
like
do
this
that
band.
no more.
Yes.
Same man wearing the same T-shirt, like a couple of photos.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody does that anymore. Really, it's like it's hard to do that. That's why I love that there's a resurgence of vinyl and cassettes, which is crazy. And kids have that opportunity to have a booklet and thank yous and all that stuff. And I mean, obviously, our shout out lists have gotten a lot smaller because I think we shout out every single person their entire career before a career was even over.
Right.
We did a lot of big shout outs, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the booklets and all that stuff and the lyric sheets, that's amazing. I never want that to go away. But
Cool.
I might drink some out here.
So let me ask you this: what made you guys decide to take a fun approach to the hardcore sound as opposed to like the more angry and violent style that it's known for?
Because we're not angry, violent people. We're happy people, not angry, violent people. So the music that we make reflects that.
I respect that type of hardcore. I respect those people.
Here, hold on a second.
I respect that type of hardcore and that aggression and that angriness, but that's not how we grew up. So other people have, and I respect that, and they're my friends, and they're fucking legends, and they live it. And we actually didn't come from that world, and we actually all moved to New York. We're not from New York. We didn't grow up here. We did. I mean, we lived there a decent amount of our lives, but I'm saying like we came from a different world, and you know, there's definitely if we're just talking about particularly New York City hardcore, there's nothing like it, and there will never be nothing like it. You know, and you know. Even back then, bands had melody too. Murphy's Law had melody. Gorilla Biscuits had melody. Black Train Jack had melody. There were a lot of bands from the New York hardcore scene that had melody. Token Entry, they had melody. Underdog. There was so many bands that they were from New York, but they didn't have the hard edge. But other people grew up in different ways. Other people grew up in the streets. Some didn't. You know, and I feel like the New York City scene. You know, it has the stigmatism of being violent and being this aggressive, and people getting stabbed and killed at shows, which I've never seen in my entire life. People get stabbed and killed at a show in New York, but there's this energy and stuff about New York that has this violent tone to it. But it's a gnarly city, and it was a gnarly city in the '80s when shit was going on. And right now, I wouldn't say I feel safer in New York than I do living in Los Angeles right now because New York City is completely. Feel safe to me, but back then and how people grew up, it was different. So they sang about it and they live it, and that's what separated New York from other places in America because there's only one New York City. And so when we came in, I feel like maybe we're like kind of a breath of fresh air because nobody was maybe singing so much. Like our first 7-inch, we had a love song, I Know Why, and it's kind of poppy. But we love Descendants. We love music from all around the world, So that's where our influence came from. But some people, it's just different for each person. So we definitely feel like when we came out. We were excited. We weren't angry. We were stoked to be in New York. We were stoked to be in the band playing shows. We didn't have any kind of shit like that. I mean, obviously, we all came from different backgrounds, and So I feel like I don't know. New York City is not one particular style, but it also is a particular style. There's a different edge to it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's hard to explain. Explain, Adam.
And put it simply, we kept it real. Keeping it real doesn't mean keeping it street or keeping it tough. It just means keep it honest to who you are. So if you're a guy that lives that rougher lifestyle, keeping it real means that's who you are and that's what you express through your music. We're not those dudes.
Okay.
We're happy fucking psyched guys. So the music comes off as happy and psyched.
That's good. Pretty safe to say.
My friends look out for me like that. My life's been struggling since I was 3. My friends look out for me like that. My life's been struggling since I was 3. Am I scared? Am I push? Am I worried? Another day, another year, so it's the rain. Let's go!
Did you find that when you guys signed Epitaph and did those 2 albums, did you find that label being at that time known as like a punk rock label had any influence on those 2 albums?
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
say about Rancid. I mean, I remember going to Electric Lady Studios on 8th Street, and playing our demo for Brett Gurewitz when they were doing Out Come the Wolves, and we got signed Epitaph after that, and it was amazing. And no, I like the fact that we were a New York band on a West Coast label, on a punk label, and we were New York hardcore. I love that. So no, it didn't. It was great that we got to do a record with Brett Gurewitz at Coyote Studios in Brooklyn, where Rancid did Life Won't Wait. We did it on purpose because the studio was so awesome. And no, I definitely didn't influence that. You know, maybe more melody came out that we didn't know we had because Brett Gurewitz produced it. But I mean, all the songs were our songs, and it was really no influence for being on the label. I don't think labels really should influence a band.
Okay,
you know?
so that leads to my next question. I feel like now that it's been like 15 years since it happened, I feel like I get like a pretty honest answer to this question.
I know exactly what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
MCA Go record.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna keep it real with you right now. I didn't write one song on the entire record, one lyric on the entire record. My brother wrote the entire record except for Memory Lane. Underneath the Flames is written by Rusty himself, Reliable.
And of course, Like a Prayer.
Like a Prayer, that's my favorite song on the record. Actually, no. Honestly,
It's much better version.
And this is no disrespect to Matt Wallace, who produced. Our drummer pretty much picked this producer because he did Faith No More and the Replacements. And then he went on to do Maroon. What do you look at my big ass phone? And then he went on to do Maroon 5, and everything changed Matt Wallace's life.
Yeah.
But you need to get back with this question because it's a go question, and he's like,
What's the question?
what is the question?
Basically, the question is why?
Why did we make Go?
Word.
Yeah. Why did you sign MCA and?
Good
Well,
question.
let me tell you this.
Yeah.
There was a bidding, not a bidding war. It was Blackout Records, Hans Hadelt, who had already signed my brother's original band Outcrowd, and Brett Gurewitz all in LA to showcase. And we went with Brett Gurewitz. But Hans stayed there and followed our career from the Blackout record all the way up until then. He was a big supporter of the band, and he loved the music, and he loved us, and he already had a relationship with my brother. So, like I just told him, Adam, and Tarfin wrote nothing on the album. Todd Morse wrote it all, except 3 songs that Rusty wrote. There's songs on the record that I love. I wish that Chad produced that record like he did Nothing to Prove. Because Role Model and Memory Lane and there's some songs you play live stand out perfectly with all of other songs live, but it was overproduced and it was over fucking candy coated, and we were so burnt from touring on all the other albums. I just moved to California. I was moving to California. There's no excuses what happened, but I felt like I wish I was more involved with that record. I felt like I was so burnt at that point, and I was like, oh, my brother's whatever. We let my brother run it. And, there's some great songs on that record. It was a great time. We were the first hardcore band to play Conan O'Brien. It was a great time, but I have no regrets in our career, but I just wish Chad Gilbert was... I wish Chad Gilbert was producing them because I love what he did with Nothing to Prove. I love what he did with Use Your Voice. He gets it. He's our friend. He could have made Out of Debt. Some of the songs he could have made.
You had the question was why Go, right?
Right.
That's your question. Be honest, right? What
Okay.
did you think
Hold
of-
on. Is that way they can hear you?
Be honest. What did you, as like a third party, what did you really think of Go?
And I won't take nothing personal because I had nothing to do with it.
No, I'm genuinely curious.
Okay.
You said you're an H2O fan since the first album, right? So
Right.
you're good. You like the second album. You like the third album. Go happened.
You like Nothing to Prove?
I listened to Nothing to Prove twice in the past month.
Nice.
So
was that your first time? listening to Nothing to Prove?
yeah, those 2 times, first and second, yeah.
So my question to you is, what did you think of Go? And be honest, man.
I'll just paint the picture. I saw the CD. I worked at a store called Sam Goody at the time, so we got to listen to all kind of music.
The one down on.
It was in New Jersey. So I come in, and then this, huh?
Live in New York now?
No, I live in New Jersey still. So I came in and I said, "Oh, H2O's new album came out." And then when I flipped it over and saw it said MCA, then I was like, "Oh no!" So I already went into it like with the judging. Basically the same way when I first heard AFI on the radio. Then I just had that. Why is AFI on the radio? And I'm like, oh, that's why. So then the same thing when I heard that album, it really kind of bored me, to be honest with you. But I knew, which go to my next question. I knew that it's gonna have a backlash from the fans.
Oh, it did have a backlash.
Yeah.
You know what else though? I'm glad that we took it. We took a chance, went to a major label, and we let more of our melodic influences come out because I get inspired by bands like 7 Seconds who made incredible fast hardcore records, and then they made New Wind and Praise and Ourselves and Soul Force Revolution. I loved all those records. Brian, you loved those records, right, Brian? The melodic 7 Seconds. Yeah. I loved it.
I wish every time I talk
Black Train Jack.
every time we talk to Kevin, it's like, please play those songs again. Man,
Uh-huh.
that was a part of you and a part of that band's history that was great. Remember when they played it in London?
Yeah.
Before the show? It was like,
cool.
and they played it. What was the main question? What am I talking
I
about?
just like bands. You're talking about I made up my own question. Like the bands that take chances and try to experience more of it, bring out different influence. Like if I made a hip hop record, because I love hip hop, I wouldn't do that because I can't rap. But I love Madonna and Coldplay and U2 and all this stuff. And like we let that more shine with the Go record. We let the more melody come out, and it did backfire on us. But I don't feel guilty for taking that chance because bands like 7 Seconds, a lot of bands, if I can remember off the top of my head, who tried different things. TSOL Revenge, great record. It was a major label. Everything was punk, and then TSOL Revenge. Love the album because I sometimes you get bored making the same shit over and over again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, go on.
I will say, like, personally, I'm not like I don't consider Go our finest hour. But like, if you take a song like Sunday, that the ability to do a song like that is directly because we made Go. You know what I mean? It kind of opened us up to doing some stuff a little. Like if you listen to FTTW, and then you listen to some of the songs on Nothing to Prove, like Sunday, like What Happened. You kind of needed Go to bridge the gap. Like, it might not have hit it out the park every time.
Then people know we're capable of doing it, what we're not afraid of doing.
It's not shocking.
Yeah.
Like, we went a little too far in one direction with
One Direction.
yeah, with Go, but we learned our lesson and brought the good stuff from that sound back with us to what we were doing before. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's basically a learning experience, and and from the things that didn't work out,
Yeah.
you trashed that and took the things that did work out and applied it to the next record.
You don't push the boundaries. How are you going to know where you can go?
Yeah.
That's such a comfort zone. How do you know what's there?
I honestly feel that it took us the first album, the second album, the third album, and go to make Nothing to Prove, which is a combination of everything with hardcore and melody. Because when we made our first record, we didn't know what our sound was going to be. We knew what the songs we wrote sounded like. It wasn't a particular sound we were going for. I mean, we're opening up a cappella on the first record. Like,
Yeah, that was the last song you played at the first show I saw.
Yeah, I mean,
so that was definitely doing that made this song so memorable. So when I went home and listened to it, and that song starts, I'm
Yeah.
like, I remember that song. Oh, it's gonna
But-
kick
but-
in,
but
and then it's like, yeah, and then you're just like tearing up your room.
But I remember on tour with Social Distortion, Mike Ness was like, "You guys sound like punk rock, hardcore doo-wop," because we're doing the melody stuff, and that wasn't normal. And we did that in '96, like just to sing an a cappella.
The thing is that it took us a while to figure out what we're meant to sound like. You know what I mean? So once we figured it out, and I really think we hit it out the park on Nothing to Prove, was like, on Use Your Voice we took it further, but it took a while. You know what I mean? Like 4 records, like. It's like learning to walk. It takes a minute to for a kid to figure out how to do it. A brand new band. Fucking made a record. We're not a band. Every song we ever wrote, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, is on a record. It's not like we have fucking thousands
We don't.
of songs.
And we've never taken ourselves too seriously. And I think the problem was with Go also, we signed to a major label. There was a little bit of pressure. But I wasn't into the vibe or the direction of the album. And I don't think Adam or TF was. And like I said, my mind was up in space. And I what up, man?
Oh my God,
Tim Armstrong.
thank you. I gotta get a picture of you. You're my idol.
He's from ATL. I was in Jersey.
Hey, okay,
Okay, all good.
thanks. I literally just shook Tim Armstrong's hand.
He's the best.
I can die now.
He's the best. Don't die in the backstage. Wait till the show's over.
Just don't ever walk.
Anyway, all right, more questions.
All right, so you guys said that you have a new album coming out in the 9th, so we're expecting it to sound basically like everything you've done all into one.
Yeah, pretty good way to put it.
Have you heard the song Skate or another song?
I did, and so I got a punk rock vibe from the album, but I'm assuming it's not gonna. The second song I heard, the self-title, I guess,
Yeah, Use Your
is a
Voice.
shorter hardcore song. So I'm guessing you're gonna combine both styles into one record.
You heard so far?
No, I heard the video I saw, and then I heard the other song, which was like a shorter song.
Use Your Voice.
Use Your
You heard
Voice. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the 2 that are out right now.
Heard as a fan? Like that you heard as a fan?
I did. I mean, I'm not expecting you to reproduce the self-title again, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, do that over and over and over.
Are you the guy that likes the first 7-inch of every band?
So I'm like, yeah, I like the first album a lot. I like the third album a lot. I like the one you did last.
I think this guy, that's my path too. I like those. Those are my favorites too.
That's album.
Transplants album. Oh man, the second one was the best album I heard that year. So I'll have to say that one's my favorite one.
Was it Haunted Cities?
Yeah. I
Great.
like the first one because it's it's very raw.
I got a demo. I got the first demo. It's kind of sick.
Cool.
Really cool. It's awesome.
All right, so let me get
Humble
to
brag right there. No, I'd be like, yeah, I got the first demo. You'll
Yeah.
never hear it, but it's
he
awesome.
basically.
It's awesome. You're never gonna hear it.
Yeah,
But
you
it's awesome.
know,
Really,
I was
too
there.
bad you're never
You
gonna hear
should.
it.
Too bad you missed it out.
Too bad you don't have it.
Yeah.
I got it. It's awesome.
So you mentioned your brother before. Todd is no longer in the band, and not only is he touring guitarist for the Offspring, but I read somewhere I believe he said that he doesn't feel the same passion for hardcore music that he would, and he would feel somehow like he's a imposter on the playing with the band if he continued doing that. So what keeps you guys excited and involved in such a youthful, energetic, and extremely physical sound?
Because we're youthful, energetic, extremely physical people.
Okay, I
That's
mean,
it. That's
like
it.
when I go to shows, like to see older.
Rusty Pistachio, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how you doing, Jarrell? When I go to shows and I see like the crowds going crazy, I see like younger kids, and I see people our age just like kind of just hanging back and chilling, like just listening to it, but they're not going crazy. Because I'm just wondering, do you reach a certain age where it's like I can't really listen to hardcore anymore because it's too it's too crazy for me. It's too like energetic. I can't.
I tell you one
keep
thing.
up with
You
it,
reach
you know?
I certainly hope you reach an age where you don't only listen to hardcore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it feels like
Yeah. Oh, rough. But I'm saying like
in his case, it didn't affect you guys.
No, but I certainly hope there's that there's those moments in your life where you just want to ramp it up a little bit, and hardcore's your sound check.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
So you guys can see yourself still doing this well into your 50s and 60s, maybe.
I'm 52.
Oh, I wouldn't have even guessed, man.
To answer that question,
This is Russ, the other guitarist. Would you say rhythm or lead?
Rusty Farian.
Rhythm guitarist for H2O. Go ahead.
I'd say
Rusty's
both.
an amazing backing singer and rhythm guitar player.
Yes,
say-
I love your voice, man. I know it's you whenever I listen to that first album, man,
I'd say.
and all the other ones too.
Oh, thank you. I think a lot of people, especially me, you hit a certain age where you don't want to dive off the stage and take a chance on breaking your leg or arm because you
Yeah.
got to work the next day, or you don't want to jump in the crowd and actually hurt someone. The older you get a little wiser and to the interaction you can have with the crowd. And after a while, it's like, you know what? I really don't want to land on somebody and squash them.
Yeah.
And,
So was it a big decision when you had to give in to using the earplugs?
No, it wasn't a big decision at all.
No?
It was either listen to my ears go 24/7.
Yeah.
Or
But that's hardcore, man. No.
It's crazy. I don't wear
hardcore ear damage.
furniture here last night.
It was sweaty, and I was like, please let nobody steal it.
So I have a serious straight edge question to ask you, Toby. I hope you don't mind. So you're straight edge for quite a while, which is, if you guys out there don't know, it's a term coined by Ian from Minor Threat, meaning you don't drink, do drugs, or fuck. So what is your technique for converting others to that lifestyle?
I mean, so I've been straight edge my whole life. I'm 45, never tried anything. That's a song written by a band, and like you said, Minor Threat. And from what I got from that song was, I was a skateboard punk rock kid listening to aggressive music that I skated to, and I really could relate to Anarchy in the UK and Sex Pistols, which I love, but there was a lot of songs like people saying fuck their parents, this and that. I love my mom. She raised 3 boys on her own after my dad died. Mm-hmm. So there was this other music, this other hardcore that wasn't like fuck everything. It's like, let's try to change everything, make everything better. 7 Seconds, Verbal Assault, Dag Nasty, Minor Threat, Gorilla Biscuits, Youth of Today. And for me, I don't try to convert anybody. Nobody in my band is straight edge. My wife is not straight edge. Most of my friends aren't straight edge. It's a personal choice for me, just like it was a personal song written by Ian McKay, but a personal time in his life. And if people get inspired that I am straight edge my whole entire life, and we do have a couple songs about it, I think that's awesome. But my goal is not to tell people what they can and can't do, because that's everything punk rock is not about.
Yeah.
And I do go to schools and speak to kids about being a tattooed, freaky-looking musician for 20 years and being a dad and never trying drugs, alcohol. They look at me like I'm crazy because there are so many stereotypes of musicians. And that's not even a preaching thing. That's just like, hey, this is me. Here's my story. Here's my PowerPoint. Maybe I can inspire some kids to take that same path and know that you don't have to do drugs and alcohol to be cool or to fit in. But yeah, so for me, straight edge was never a preachy thing. Never like a fuck you, I'm better than you thing. Never a you should be like me kind of thing. But yeah, so if kids just relate to the songs or what I'm about, that's great. I try to spread much positivity I can on this earth, and if it affects people, that's awesome.
Okay, so I'm really happy you said that, because that, as a parent, like you said, how would you handle it if your son chooses to live his life the opposite of that?
Well, my son is 12. My son is raised a vegetarian, and obviously he's straight edge because he's 12.
Yeah.
But he knows he's a really smart, aware kid, and he's a little gentleman, and he also knows the effects of alcohol and drugs. I've told him stories about friends or situations and stuff, and he's under my roof when he's old enough to be on his own. He's his own man. He can do whatever he wants.
Okay.
But under
okay.
my roof, it's our rules. And I'll police that to the best of my ability. But I'm not going to force him to be something he's not. And I'm not going to try to mold him into a mini-me. It just so happens he is a mini-me because he skates and plays drums and comes on tour. And
it's good to take advantage of when your children are young enough to look up
totally.
to you. Yeah.
Your number one parent, your number one job as a parent is to be their role model, because if you're not their role model, they're going to find it in somebody else who is not positive, who's not inspirational, who's not doing good things. They'll find it just, another type of artist on the radio, or maybe somebody at their school. So when you have your kid, that's your number one job, is to be their role model. And, and I'm doing the best I can with that. So
cool. Do you want to talk a little about the One Life, One Chance Foundation you're doing?
Sure.
Sure.
So yeah,
Okay. Do we have to wrap up? Or?
Sound check.
Okay.
Then we can do a photo after this real quick.
All right.
All right. So yeah. So One Life, One Chance was started maybe 5 years ago, and I've spoken to 36 schools already. All right, 26 schools. And my motivation was that somebody in Queens, New York, at Rockaway, Queens, they made a PMA mix CD for their students, put a bunch of different styles of music on there, but one of our songs, Sunday, was on there, and that's the one kids reacted to the most. And so she sent me like 50 letters in the mail, and I read them all. It was super emotional. And she's like, next time you come to New York, you should come speak to my kids and meet them. And I'm like, why? She's like, well, you've been straight edge, and you're a dad, and you're a musician, and you're covered in tattoos and stereotypes, et cetera, et cetera. And so I went and did that, and I started doing schools after that. And it just kind of spread with like social media, and because I'm in a band, or people familiar with H2O, or like there's a lot of hardcore kids now who are like teachers or on the PTA, or like, so they were getting me into schools, and then it started getting to real schools who knew nothing about me, only because one school told the next school. Total grassroots DIY thing. And my main message is like, hey, this is me. I may look like this, but I don't live like this. And here's my PowerPoint. These are some of my friends who passed away from drugs and alcohol. These are some celebrities you guys might have heard of that are straight edge also. This is why I became this way. This is how I live my life. And it's crazy because, it's not dare. It's not scared straight. It's not somebody in a suit going, I used to be a junkie, which is all respect to people who had drug issues, but I didn't. But I used to be a heroin addict, and I lost my wife and my kid. Now I changed my life, and you can do it too. Or don't do this, don't do that, because you don't want to go there and do that to kids, because it's just like their parents or teachers yelling at them. They don't want to be told what not to do. So I'm just like, here's me. Here's James Hetfield. He's straight edge now. Turned his life around. He has a straight edge tattoo. CM Punk, Haley Williams from Paramore. These are some people you might be familiar with. C.J. Wilson from the Angels. Here's some of my friends who are drug-free also. They're super successful, and kids really, really bug out on it. And like, you see the connection. And as soon as it's time for Q&A, like everybody has their hands up, and like, it's overwhelming, man. Every school has been awesome, and it's a great feeling. And I try to do as much as I can when I'm not touring. And he's been with me to some schools, and by the time you walk out of the school, kids are handing you like drawings or like a fist with an X or One Life, One Chance. And now with social media, like the last school I went to in Long Island, it was like I got like 200 followers. By the time I left the school from Long Island to Manhattan, I got like 200 followers from this high school. Like just kids, like it's crazy, man. Like just how quick it is and the connection, and it's real. It's just me. I'm not like, I'm just talking. I'm just wearing a hat, whatever I'm wearing. It's just me. Like, so I feel like they connect to it, and it's been awesome. I have a nonprofit. It took me like a year and a half to get that, so I have a board of directors and everything, and try to make stuff happen. So
awesome. So the website is www.onelifeonechance.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, check it out. And finally, my hypothetical question was for the whole band, but since I'm not here, I'll have to ask you: if you could have one superpower, what would it be, and how would you exploit it?
One superpower, and how would I exploit it?
All the bands get stumped with this one.
I mean, is not ever dying? Is that a superpower?
Yeah, basically, I've seen that in movies before, but would you get bored with watching all your friends die? That's and what happens when the world comes to an end? What happens to you? You just float around in space?
Superpowers. Let me take a think.
See, mine, I always say, is I want the power to make girls orgasm with my mind.
Sick. I mean,
It would be a very awkward business meeting, but still I'd do it.
I would love to like click my heels like 3 times like the Wizard of Oz and like play a show tonight, click my heels, and be home with my family right now tonight in LA.
Oh, so you want to be able to teleport then?
Teleport, yeah. That'd be so amazing.
Yeah.
To go play a show and you come home, come back, just fly around. I like to fly. Flying would be sick.
Yeah, like the fly.
Teleporting.
But unlike the fly, you don't want to like turning into a fly and have to get your head blown off.
No, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Teleporting would be pretty sick, actually.
Okay.
I mean,
Cool.
I'm wondering in the future what's going to happen, like with, I don't know, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Not teleporting, but I mean, like, maybe with some crazy jetpacks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something.
Hoverboards. We still got a couple months until that's going to come true. Back to the Future
all those
too.
hoverboards and like that one thing that my son's obsessing on. It's like it's got the 2 wheels and it's electronic. I see people cruising around.
Yeah, I
like,
saw that.
but what about skateboarding, man? Is it too hard of a challenge to like?
You literally don't have to move your
skateboard?
legs to get from one place to another. It's like the Jetsons.
You know what it is?
basically.
It's just more things to make people lazy, man.
Yeah.
I really feel like it is. Like, supposing that a friend of ours, this high school girl, she's friends with Max. She's like, the kids are buying $600. What are they called? They're the ones with the wheels.
Yeah, I
They're buying those so they don't get their Jordans or nice sneakers dirty. So people are spending money just not to scuff their shoes on the ground, like high school kids. I just don't know.
Jordans are $100 still.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just saying. I just know that it's like I know we're in Jordans right now, but I just feel like it's more things to make people lazy and not exercise and just like walk. Like first it's like computers and then the iPhones with the video games all day long, and then like now it's like you don't want to skate and like push off and get exercise and like. So turn the shit on and float around, not even sweat.
We're getting old.
I mean, it's
we
like,
definitely
I mean,
are.
we're getting old, but the kids are younger to be acting like that. I feel like
we might be able to overpower them because they'll be so fat and lazy when they get into our age.
Man,
We can just push them over.
when I see all that stuff, I'm like, God, man, get a skateboard. Man, it's so funny, creative, and like it's exercise, and it's like good for the mind. And I sound like an old man because I'm old saying it, but like I don't know, I'm saying like what happened to skateboarding.
Yeah,
skateboarding is amazing now. I skate all the time with my son. I love skateboarding.
That could be your that could be your a B-side to the album coming out. What happened to skateboarding?
Yeah. No, what happened? Yeah, what happened? Yeah, well, skateboarding is huge and still amazing, relevant, and most incredible thing ever created. It's huge. What happened to exercise? I could have a song called "What Happened to Exercise." What happened to walking? What happened to I don't know.
What happened to conversating with people and interfacing in public?
But all those little things rolling around.
Yeah.
Man. I feel so like an old dude talking like that. I hate it.
It's going to plateau eventually. I mean, it's the social media stuff and the computer stuff is all. It's still there's no boundaries to it.
Okay, so what happens after Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope? What's next? I don't know what's next.
They'll put the chips in our mind so that way we don't have to even like we can just think of something and then it will just happen. We don't have to have the phone in front of us.
They're taking it all, and the more it's around, the more, hopefully people just see what the intrinsic value is to it and utilize it for that. Like, you don't have to spend all day on Facebook. It's great to go on there to see what friends who ordinarily you might not be able to call or talk to, or you see what they're doing, stay up to date with what people are doing. But it's kids spending hours and hours and hours on these stupid stories of people posting.
Well, Facebook's getting played out. Facebook is now our thing because we took it from the kids. So now they think to themselves, well, this is not cool anymore because our parents are on this.
Yeah,
so now they're on to
huge.
Vining.
Vine
and
is
we don't
huge.
understand Vining. It's like perfect. They don't understand it. So we'll just stay with that.
It's like short second videos. It's like for ADD. It's like great. Yeah. And now
like-
my son watches these YouTube best of the week. It's like
Vines.
It's like
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. The world's crazy.
And on that note, let's wrap this up here.
Wrap it up.
So if you guys want to check out this H2O, they'll be touring a little bit for the next couple months.
Yes.
They'll be back in New York, I think, in November.
Yes. In
If you
Jersey
got-
too.
In Jersey as well.
Damn it.
They'll be
sorry.
throwing. They'll be throwing. They won't be playing basketball, unfortunately. Also, the album comes out on October 9th, so check it out on Bridge 9 Records.
Yes.
Go to their. Speaking of Facebook, go to their Facebook on which is facebook.com/H2O
Go. Our family. Yes. I don't know.
We're still rocking that album title.
Oh,
Damn.
H2O Go came from the first album though.
Yeah.
So Spirit 84,
true.
H2O Go.
Yeah.
That's
you
our,
win.
that's our shit.
Okay. So so definitely check them out. This has been Jarrell saying, everyone out there, keep the music scene alive. Go to a show.
Yes.
Peace out.
That's amazing. Thank you, man.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
meeting you, man. Thank you. That was a great interview.
That was really
That's
hard.
fun.